May I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Duffy.
Present.
Commissioner Clark.
Here.
Commissioner Frazier.
Here.
Commissioner Murdoch.
Here.
Commissioner Adrian Oakley.
Here.
Commissioner Gold.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. So is there any public comment or recognition of visitors that we should incorporate? I think we've heard of any comments that might have been offered. Okay, then we're going to keep moving to item 3.1, which is consideration of the 2025 annual comprehensive financial report.
I move to approve the annual comprehensive financial report for the year ending December 31, 2025. Second.
Or Dr. Seconds. Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Duffy.
Yes.
Commissioner Adrian Oakley.
Yes.
Commissioner Frazier.
Yes.
Commissioner Clark.
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch.
I'm voting present.
Commissioner Gold.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Okay, next up, item 3.2, consideration of ordinance 2026-0-5, approving the tree preservation policy. I could have a motion and a second that we can discuss.
I move to approve ordinance 2026-0-5, an ordinance adopting a tree preservation policy.
A second? All right,
Do you have a question?
Chris?
I do have a quick question. We received a really great email, and so given that we're voting, how would we adopt changes, or what feedback do you have on the email that was sent in advance of a vote?
Yes. Yeah, so I do not think we need to change the
Okay.
policy. So I think that the Morton Arboretum's list that is referenced in our policy is a list of basically all of the species that you could plant in our climate zone. And it's not a recommendation of you have to plant all of these.
That's the difference.
As a matter of fact, if you read through that, those two groupings of trees that were brought into question are actually clearly called out in that document, which is a good thing. As to, you probably shouldn't plant these. And I think that, we've, double checked with our team and talked with our horticulturalist who our professional staff that will be selecting the trees from the list, who will prioritize the correct native trees for our parks and ensuring that they're in, the right, even the best native tree for our area isn't the right fit in this spot in this park. So there's a lot more to it that, I think our really talented team will take into account. I think they were wonderful notes to get. And I couldn't support it more from our team. And so I, definitely very thankful for that. And then the other mention was about the tree keepers, which we talked about internally, and I've had experience working with tree keepers. It's really a great program. And it's, wonderful volunteers who have a passion for trees, who are trained, and can understand, how to prune a tree appropriately, mulching, those wonderful things we can never do enough of it. Trees keep growing, which is a good thing. But they need a lot of care that we're just flat out not staffed to handle perfectly. And so, I look forward to partnering with tree keepers as well. I don't think that should stand in the policy, but it was really a nice add and reminder that, this is this great group that we can continue to, move forward with and work with, and our trees will benefit from it.
Great. So, and thank you. That's educational for me as well. So it sounds like a response to them.
I did.
I didn't see it yet.
That's right. It was later. Yeah.
It sounds like the response addresses that this policy it has left the door open for those things without having to, make changes. Thank you.
I'm going to bring two things.
Mhm.
One, is that, there's a comment about, the trees that applies to Park District property. But there are, areas of the village, well, for example, say Gilson, some of that property is owned by, and part of Gilson is owned by MWRD, and the Park District leases it from a WRD. And as Mark Wyoming brought up, Howard Park is also owned by the village, but the park district, we have a lease with it. You know, based on this, then this policy wouldn't apply to those areas of the.
That's a great question. Yeah.
And that should it be revised into, to say also, you know, the areas that the park district is responsible for, has substantial like leases or, you know, or just plain leases.
If I can interject on that, I think that we'd have to look at the agreements that we have with those entities to see what our responsibilities are and whether we are allowed to add any foliage to those parks without their permission before we say, you know.
Yeah, well, but then this
I've read
also
the
goes
Howard
to.
lease. I think we've got flexibility there, but the water reclamation district, I don't know. Yeah.
But it goes beyond adding trees, it also goes to the pruning of the trees or to the mulching. Is that this is property, you know, I guess it is asking, looking at the agreements, but will the park, so I just feel like this policy really may have a wider application than what is actually written here in the policy, which is just for park district property. So I'm bringing that up. So that's one issue I bring up. And the other kind of issue I have is on where no person, what the stating that no person shall cut, remove, uproot, or wantonly destroy any trees, or whether alive or dead, which is fine, all fine. But otherwise, I think it was like removing, pick or gather any seed of any tree or any other plant without written permission. Well, a lot of people like go through the park and like pick up branches to take the dog beach to throw for their dog. At times, the holidays, I'll pick up some branches to use decorating my house. I'm in violation of this policy. Or if a kid comes.
What number are you talking about?
This is 7A2. 7A2. You know, if the little kids go through in the fall, because there is a school assignment to get leaves, they're in violation of this policy now. If you're going through and are picking, pick a flower, or if you, are running through like the 9/11 garden and happen to kind of bend a flower, you're in violation of this policy. So I just, you know, and this may be more are people really going to be really uptight, but I have heard of kids going to the forest preserve, picking up leaves and getting in trouble for them because that's, you know, really not supposed to. And I understand the reason, because if everyone starts picking up leaves, it can change the ecosystem because no leaves aren't there, they're providing. But it's just, it's, I just gotta have a little concerns that this is a very black or white, black or white type thing where there's really some.
So if if we could operate this, first off, someone has to be doing.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, I.
Second is up to the executive director. You can see it's in part 3 of it. It's up to the Parks and Planning. Yeah. Executive director of Wilmette Park, you can appeal any penalty or fine to the executive director. So it's at his discretion whether someone is punished. So like I said, first someone's gonna get caught. You know, are your dog friends gonna turn you in for picking up a stick?
I don't think so, but,
Okay.
but I
So,
guess,
and then and then also that's about training the staff, right? If someone down at the beach, a lifeguard sees you pick up a stick, they can be trained not to turn you in because it's a stick laying on the ground.
But your question, should we have a policy that we even have to be having this conversation about? So
I mean,
Chris, did we pull
this-
this language from other?
So this was from the grant
Yeah.
language. This was language they asked for, and it's what, you know, there's wantonly destroy. I mean, that's the way I'm reading this, you know, picking up a stick on the ground is different than ripping a branch off a tree.
Right.
Or, you know, pulling,
A tree and
like,
pulling.
clearly, the intent, this was the exact language that the grant, or Arboretum wanted.
Word one.
Okay, but the last line, or pick or gather any seed of any tree or other plants without the written permission of the superintendent. So it goes beyond the wanton. It goes beyond wantonly. I mean, there is a separate clause that says, oh, or pick or gather any seed of any tree or other plant. And,
And so I think, are you recommending
I
relaxing the language, or I think it's an about enforcement? And
Yeah.
Commissioner Duffy said we're unlikely to enforce.
But, you know, you said, I know, and I know that's there, but, you know, that. I don't want to bring in too much politics, but there were a lot of people who thought like, you know, the president of the United States wouldn't do certain things. And then we had someone who
We're
is,
overreaching,
so.
exactly,
Who's.
aggressive about the tree.
So I'm just kind of bringing this up.
So for the sake of discussion, can I,
Yeah.
back to your first point?
Yeah.
About whether, we can do anything at Howard Park, if we plan it or approve it at Howard Park or at, so in the very second paragraph of the first page, there it says, whereas section 8.1 of Park District Code authorizes Park District to establish by order all needful rules, regulations, government protection of parks, boulevards, driveways, and other property under its jurisdiction. It's the very first.
This section, whereas,
It's the
third
second
line.
whereas, if you read
Third
that
line.
paragraph. So that gives us the right, as long as our lease agreement gives us the right to prune, cut down, plant. Because these are other boulevard drivers or other property under its
That's
jurisdiction.
a good point.
Wait, well,
I'm comfortable with that.
yeah, but, okay, but that is also. Okay,
It's a blanket statement about whatever we govern.
That deals with the first issue. Doesn't
That's what I'm
deal with
saying.
The second
Yeah.
issue, yeah, right. But I think it does.
but then it does, but, you know, then, it does, but this scope and applicability says this policy shall apply to all trees located on land owned by the Wilmette Park District. So there's a kind of a conflict between the ordinance and what the policy says. So that may be just, I'm just,
I mean, if we.
and
we
then
add
it
the
says the
word
policy does
manage.
not apply to trees located on private property or those regulated under separate jurisdictions by the Village of Greenwich or other governmental entities. So the scope and applicability, it specifically carves out any other, so that would be Howard Park, or that would be the FWRD properties. So I'm just,
So honestly, I'd have to ask Andrew if we can apply this to land that we don't own. We may manage it, but we don't own it, which is why it's written the way we have it. Obviously, if we manage it, which we do, within the lease language, we're not gonna manage sites differently. This is gonna apply to everything we do. I'd have to confirm that, because I don't know that we can add that language to something we don't own.
So
To
What
cover
were
it.
the repercussions of us not voting on this today?
If we don't get this by,
June 30th, yeah.
the end of this month,
Yeah.
we do not meet the requirements for the $20,000 grant.
But we could certainly approve it and revise it at a later
Okay.
date.
All right, so that sounds like that needs to be what happens.
Yeah.
Alright.
Are you comfortable with that?
Oh, yeah, I'm comfortable. I mean, I basically wanted to.
These are great points,
And
and
then-
I appreciate your
Yeah.
thorough read of this and flagging for us to discuss.
Good, and shall we?
I have a couple more, sorry.
Please.
So we've always, this is my general understanding, is we sort of looked at the golf course a little bit differently from our other properties. And, you know, I know there have been times going back to when we did the redesign back in 2013, that a number of healthy trees were removed due to sort of play conditions. I'm not a golfer. Does this create additional challenges in terms of how we manage our golf course? But yeah, go ahead.
So I had that exact same thought as I was reading through this. And it is under the approval of our superintendent of parks.
So.
So
we got
any,
enough
any
wiggle room.
removal, yeah,
Yeah.
superintendent of parks has to
Okay.
come through and say, yay, nay.
Okay, that's a good point. You're right, as I read it. My other question, and this really sort of goes back to conversations I had with one of your predecessors. I'm concerned about, I don't know what a lot of this means with respect to tree planting and tree maintenance. You know, there are references to ANSI A300 standards, et cetera, et cetera. I've been told in the past that we can only plant a certain number of trees because we're only capable of maintaining a certain number of trees. And this is becoming less and less of an issue as we come over time and we have landscape plans for all of our parks and we're implementing them. But, there's a period of time, 5, 6, 7 years where we didn't plant any trees at all. And then when we were kind of getting going again, the number that we started planting, in my opinion, was woefully low because there was a fear that, hey, if one tree dies, this is some sort of a disaster. And maybe I'm in a minority here, but I think more trees are better than less. If we plant 100 trees and 12 die, that's a lot better than planting 50 trees and 1 die. And so I'm just worried that these standards would prevent us from implementing our landscaping plans at an expedited pace. Are there any concerns about that?
No, I mean, for us, it's the challenge is watering, right?
I understand.
And so, if we're making a push to plant more trees, we may have to bring on more seasonal staff, right? And, pay some seasonal staff or worst case, a contractor to help us water. Those are really the only things that bind us. This will not bind how many trees. And it's not always about a number of trees. It's about the quality of the tree. It's the tree in the right spot
tree
with the right spacing and the right diversity in species. And so, all of that will be actually further defined in the next big step, which is the natural resource management plan. It will be not only trees, it will be everything we do, how we care for our grass, how we care for our shrubs, which will be a massive, massive document, and we'll have a lot more content for how we manage all of those natural resources.
Sounds good to me.
And
I'm good.
Chris, based on the current policy, are you anticipating any staffing implications or changes that we need?
No, not with this. We could always, like I said, we can always do more for trees, and that's why we have people like the tree keepers and our volunteers and our amazing Go Green friends that just continue to help us with massive amounts of volunteer hours because it is a labor of love. It is all very labor intensive. So
I thank you for asking the question because that is what comes to my mind as well. I appreciate you talking about trying to expedite our landscaping plan because it is something that we discussed for so many years at this point. And it does sound like staffing watering. I mean, that is person hours that takes a lot. And we never want something like that to get in the way of achieving something that we have set out as a goal too. So I would like an update on that at a future meeting, just staffing projections. I know that you have some internal hires and how that maybe looks and changes things so that if adjustments need to be made when we're in budget season, we feel prepared to do that.
Out of curiosity, Jess, do you know, over the course of the last 3 years, I know you haven't been here 3 years, but how many trees have we planted?
I can speak to this year and last year. So we've ordered 50, roughly, plus or minus, close to 50 trees this spring. We have another 50, close to 50 scheduled for fall. Depends on the nurseries, depending on, like last year, we had the challenge of the drought. Some nurseries weren't releasing their trees at the end of the year. So we're pegging close to about 100
And
a
that's
year.
been our pace about
That's
last 3 years.
Yeah. That's what we were targeting. I want to say it was 4 years ago when we started
Yeah.
pushing for tree plantings again. Yeah. So are you running out of space?
Bring up that the Midwest is a savanna, it's not a forest, and so you need the bushes.
So along with that, our staff has been out there actively doing, like at our parks, we've been implementing the
Survey.
But we've also been implementing our landscape plans and you big push and specifically over here at Mountain Crowd. We're going to do some different things over here this summer too. So staff is actively working on and doing that. Additionally, in the winter, they've been just growing out plants at the indoor greenhouse that we planted out in the summer, on site this summer or spring.
And we need the staff to then be able to maintain it. So
Correct.
the beautiful beds that are planted,
Yes.
we need the staff to be able to continue with it. So as long as that pace is set appropriately, so we're not ever neglecting beautiful land that's been done too.
Good, well, good discussion. Can you move to roll call, please?
All right, Commissioner Duffy,
Yes.
Commissioner Adrian Oakley.
Yes.
Commissioner Frazier,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark,
Yes,
Commissioner Murdoch,
Present, just kidding, yes.
Commissioner Goble.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
And 5.3, consideration of the comprehensive recreation facilities feasibility study professional services.
I move to approve the professional services contract with White and Company for the comprehensive recreational facilities feasibility study for an amount of $210,400.
Second.
Yes, great. Well, it's, last board meeting, we had 2 excellent presentations and it sounds like you've made a decision. Share some thoughts with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we went over the process in the last board meeting. I wanted to thank kind of our internal team of 8 who put in a lot of time outside of what we're normally doing. And because this was very important for the agency and everyone involved is going to be heavily involved as we move forward. This is a very, very exciting step for the agency and I think the community. And I think that our team is super excited to start running. I've already had a phone call from marketing this morning. When can I talk to their team about communicating? And so when we have a signed contract and tomorrow, hopefully. So I'll say that we had a very competitive process, some phenomenal firms, and a very hard decision at the end. And a decision that I know that from feedback from the board, from feedback from our team, I think that we have a firm that's going to listen to the community, that's going to push a project forward. That's not necessarily a project that gets them the big shiny award on their wall. One that they think that will get built. And the one that will get built or implemented in whatever shape or fashion it turns out to be is the one that has the best community outreach, that listens to all the unique challenges and all the great things that all the ideas that people have for our existing spaces and what could be, and put all that together and create options for us to look at. And I think that White does that, and I'm super excited to work with them. And along a number of fronts, a lot of it is internal on their team, which is really great. And especially going down any sort of environmental road, their firm has probably some of the best experience when it comes to incorporating sustainability and design, which is also, a value of this agency that wasn't something that we pushed super hard on from the beginning, but I know that it's important to everyone in the room. So.
Yeah, doing this at the board meeting was excellent, the way that you handled it. We were able to ask our questions here, the presentations. I thought it was fantastic. Really appreciate it. Also a shout out for your interview in the Illinois Parks and Rec magazine. Very good. Yep.
Almost one.
I love it.
Yes, exactly.
Available at newsstands near you.
Everywhere.
Great. Nice topics.
Yeah, along the lines of this, this study that we're going to start on, I think, it was 3 years ago that we had kind of a cursory look at our facilities, which didn't really help us with any capital planning.
Correct.
And this is really going to open eyes and help us focus on how to move forward with capital at certain facilities that are starting to age. CRC, like we said, is a school. Is a school that we've adapted. Centennial, that pool is over 20 years old. And We've already done a few things to extend its life. The tennis facility is aging. So these are things that we need to kind of start planning our future with. And this is really going to help. So I'm excited about that.
Well said.
We had such a great presentation. I mean, it was such a positive way to end the experience.
No doubt.
Just seemed to understand our culture and yeah, I'm excited to get started.
Kudos to the staff on the
Yeah.
process, but
Yeah.
obviously the hard work now begins. So thank you for, helping us navigate this.
Let's go to a vote.
Commissioner Duffy,
Yes.
Commissioner Adrian Oakley,
Yes.
Commissioner Frazier,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark,
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch.
Yes.
Commissioner Goble.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Move to adjourn this special meeting, June 22nd.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.